All right, part B of the student record free response question. We want to know if the set of scores is improving or not. So this one is called has improved. It doesn't take in any inputs, right? Because it's just going to be looping through this scores array and it's going to return true or false if they are improving. So basically, as long as the one we're on is less than or equal to the next one, then it's considered improving, right? So you basically have to go through and check each position. You don't go all the way to the end, right? Because 80 doesn't have like a next value here, but you go all the other positions. And then if it is less than or equal to the next one, we keep going less than or equal until we get to the very end. Then we know that they're improving. At any point along the way, if you find one that's not less than or equal to, so say this example here, 50 is not less than or equal to 20, then we automatically return false and we don't have to check the other ones. So when we set this loop up, we sort of, kind of the idea is inside of there you want to have an if, that if the position we're on is greater than the next one, then return false. And then you go all the way through, and if it makes it all the way through without ever returning false, then you can return true. Okay, and again, our loop should go not less than the length, but less than length minus 1, because on 80, there's no, when you get to the end, there's no next one that you have to check there, or can check. So you'd get an index out of bounds error if you did it the wrong way. Okay, so that's our setup, right? There's nothing coming in, and we return true or false. All right, so basically, I'm going to do a for loop, int I, so we're going to start at position 0. That's the first one we want to check, right? Going back to looking at this, we're checking um, position 0 against position 1, right? So to help kind of make sense of that too, I thought like, if we type this out in a little more detail, it might help. So like the first time I want to check is position 0, is that one greater than position 1? And if it is, then I want to return false, right? If position 0 is greater than position 1, which it is here, then I can return false right away. Similarly, right, like the next one would be, if I'm on position 1, if I is now 1, I want to check it against position 2. And if that, again, is greater, then we would return false. Right? In this case, we wouldn't have even got to the second check because we would have returned false right away. And then just the generic version. So I always do a couple specific examples to help me. So the generic version is if I do position I and compare it to the next one. So if it is greater than I plus 1, sorry, that's looking kind of wonky now. See if I can fix that. All right, so basically the generic version of all this is if I is greater than I plus 1, then we return false, right? So we check position against the one that comes next, and if it's greater, return false. Okay, so back to our code. So sorry, I is got to be less than scores.length. Sorry, my Eclipse is thinking here. And again, I'm going to go minus 1 because I don't want to go all the way to the end like I normally do. Stop one short. Okay, and then I'm going to do if scores position I greater than scores the next one, I plus 1, then we're no good. Then we return false. Okay, and we don't return true until we looped all the way through and checked all the ones against the next one. So we don't return true until here. And that should be it for part B. Hopefully it made sense. Reach out if you have any questions.